G'day everyone, how you going? Hope you're having a good day. This is just a quick intro because I've got a customer coming in about 5 minutes. But this is going to be my first build of the year. Brand new build that is, and it's a BYO, so the customer has picked all this out. And this must have cost them a pretty penny, unfortunately, in the current Ramageddon climate, because they got 32 gigs of DDR RAM here. DDR5, sorry, which I looked it up, cost them probably nearly $600. So that's gotta hurt, ouch. And I'm guessing this 870 Evo 2 terabyte must have cost a pretty penny too. That would have hurt. Ooh. But yeah, that's two of the things they've got. They're going for a Ryzen 9 9900X, so that's a pretty beefy little chip there for the CPU. As you can see, they've got a RTX 5070 from Gigabyte, so that one's probably okay pricing still at the moment. I'm not a big fan of Gigabyte though, but that's just me. I've just seen too many repair videos for the Gigabyte brand, and they're not the best quality. They've also got a Gigabyte B850 Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7 motherboard. That's a mouthful with all the latest stuff. That probably would have been a good price because motherboard sales are down on AM5 quite a bit because of the RAM shortages. Because people just aren't buying motherboards, funny enough. Weird, eh? They've also bought this. I haven't opened it up yet, but the box is humongous. This is supposed to be a PLS Assassin 120 SE CPU air cooler, and I'm really hoping they chose a case that's big enough to handle it. I'm not 100% sure because what they bought, I can't pick it up, but they bought an Antec. I'll just put a photo on the video, and it's an Antec AX61 Elite case, so I really hope it's deep enough that the CPU cooler doesn't stick out too far and you can't get the lid on. But not everyone thinks about these things when they're picking parts, so hopefully it does fit, otherwise we'll have to choose some different cooler for them. The power supply they chose is a Gigabyte P750BS. I've already messaged the customer about this one as well because while it doesn't include the 12-volt high power connector, which means we'd have to use the adapters they give you in the box, and I'm never really keen on that. The 12-volt high power connector is already a problem in itself. Many issues with melting sockets and all sorts of stuff like that. And then, we start using adapters going to the PCI Express and all that. It's just asking for trouble. So I haven't opened that one up. It's still in the shrink wrap, and I've just messaged the customer to say, hey, do you want to change that? Because there's a lot of problems with this cable. So I'll just wait to hear back from them before I start opening that up, because if it's not open, they can take it back and get a refund or exchange it for something that's more suitable. So yeah, that's the build, and they bought a retail Windows 11. Could have saved them a bit of money, but anyway, you don't need to buy retail boxes. Just get a digital code, much cheaper. But yeah, it's a brand new build, fresh windows, so should be fun to fit it all together, because I don't think I'm going to get too many builds this year until the RAM prices come down, and who knows when that'll happen with everything going on. I don't think I've heard any real good news lately. It just seems to be more bad news on bad news. So anyway, it is what it is. We have to just work our way through it. But it's not going to stop us gaming. Hey, I'm not going to stop gaming. So I will get on to prepping the motherboard, and hopefully I'll hear back from the customer soon about the power supply and whether they want to just stick with it or change it. See you soon.
A few moments later.
Alright, so we've got the motherboard out and ready. CPU is out and ready. Heatsink. Now the heatsink, I did look it up. It's 155 millimeters tall, and the case that they've chosen can handle up to 160. So we're going to have about 5 mil clearance. It's going to be very, very tight, but it should still fit, hopefully. I found out that the actual cooler is made by Thermal Right, which is basically a Chinese company. They've made a few things. They got a reasonably good name, but they are still a Chinese knockoff sort of company, not to be confused with Thermal Take, which is a completely different company. And we got the 2 very expensive sticks of RAM as well to go in. But the interesting thing is, when I opened this, I didn't really look at the SSD what it was, but they've actually gone for a SATA type, not an NVMe. I'm guessing it was just to save money because NVMe SSDs are very expensive right now and SATAs are a bit cheaper. They are going to lose out on speed as a result, but we got to do what we got to do, just so we can have a gaming computer. Won't be plugging any NVMe's into the board because we don't have any. So we'll just do the CPU, heatsink, and RAM. And I just looked up the manual for the heatsink, and yeah, we're going to replace these brackets here in order for it to mount. I guess without further talking, let's get it going. Alright everyone, have to pause the video a bit there because we may have an issue here because, like I said, this has only got 5 mil clearance on the top. Doesn't matter which side I put this second fan, it's going to sit up because really tall RAM is pushing it up. And on this side, it hits the heatsink for the MOSFETs on the motherboard. We may have a big problem here. Alright, so yeah, I might just wait until I get it in the case and then have a look at it. But yeah, it may not work out. Well, everything's on actually. We got the RAM, CPU, heatsink. I do just need to hook up the fan. I'm going to leave this fan off for now, but I'll do the wiring for the CPU fan in a sec. And then we're going to pop this into the case and to see what the clearance is like. I really hope I'm wrong, but it might be another thing they may need to change. Just got to be careful, people, when you're ordering stuff, that you check this sort of thing. I know it's easy to miss things, and this is partly why sometimes I think it's better, if you're not sure, just get someone like me to quote your machine, so that we actually check all that stuff so you don't get caught out. Alright, I will keep going, and let's hope the case is going to fit.
The suspense is terrible. He's gonna go this time. I hope it'll last.
Alright, I got the case out and I've laid it down, took the glass side off. Moment of truth, let's see how high this heatsink is. Alright, I just popped the fan sitting on the memory, so let's see if it hits or not. I don't believe it. It actually even makes it. It's fine. Holy crap. I think there's there's still like this much teeny little bit left between it and the glass, so it's going to work.
Don't you scare me like that.
Yes. That's actually a relief. So now we don't have to worry about that. Cool. So anything that's got to be dealt with is the power supply, and he's already taken that and he's going to swap that, so that's good. So excellent. We can actually run it with the second fan on it. Nice. So I'll just hook that up properly now.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, so I've got the case ready as much as I can without the power supply. He got really lucky in this instance, and the extra fan does fit, and with like 2 or 3 mil clearance on the glass, so you're very lucky. But it means we don't have to worry about that problem anymore. It's solved itself. But yeah, this case from Antec, the AX61 Elite, yeah, I'm not real fond of it. It's a bit too narrow, and I've discovered a few things with it. The cables that go to the front panel and the USB and the audio, like the audio and USB are like stuck together in a ribbon, and you have to like peel it, and it just doesn't sit very well. And the front panel cables don't want to sit well either. The front USB cable is partly the motherboard issue, but also the case, because the motherboard has the connector pointing out to the side instead of upwards, but the case has like a slot here, but the slot is just not like wide enough, and so there's a bit of pressure being put on that connector to have it in there, and there's just no other way to do it. There's no other connectors anywhere else, so not real fond of that. That's not another bad one. The other issue is all the pre-installed fans look like they're not controllable for speed. Has a 1 SATA power connector to run all the fans, so it looks like they're non-controllable fans. Are just going to spin at whatever speed it's on, and all the LEDs in those fans daisy chain. But at least with that, it does have a connection to go to the motherboard, or you can actually hook up your reset switch to this rear fan, which seems to have the controller for the LEDs in it, and it tells all the other fans what it wants. Not the greatest case. I probably would have paid a little bit more and gone something a little bit better. Like my case is an Antec, but it's a much better quality case, and so I paid a little bit more for it, and you just get better quality in the end. Especially when you're buying like fairly high-end components here, Like the motherboard isn't garbage. I don't like Gigabyte, but the motherboard appears to be like a better quality gaming board, and graphics cards like a 5070. So like, yeah, don't scrimp too much on your case. And as you can see, we almost had a problem with the height. Cases do make life a lot easier when you go around and doing your builds. But anyway, that's where we're up to with that one. I'll just wait for him to bring the power supply, and then we'll get that hooked up and get Windows on it, and that'll be it. We'll be all done, and then I'll run a test on it and bench it. Just a few things. I think, yeah, the biggest letdown for this build is going to be the case, basically, because all this stuff and that stuff and all that, that's all the case causing that. So it could have been a much better build with the right case. I will see you later once I get the power supply, and then we'll get it finished off, and we'll test it out. The customer's brought in the replacement power supply. He got it exchanged, and now it has the 12 volt high power. So I've finished setting up the power supply, put the graphics card in there. There you go, you can have a bit of a look. And I've done a basic wiring just so I can make sure it works. So yeah, we're ready to turn it on. As I mentioned, the fans are not controllable for speed, which kind of sucks. It's going to be also for RGB, we're going to have to use our reset switch so that I can actually make it use the motherboard. But anyway, let's turn it on. The case fan's are already spinning. That's funny. I actually haven't come across a case that's that bad when it comes to case fans, where it actually turns the fans on even when the computer's not switched on. It's just got power going to it, but the fans are running because it plugs directly to a SATA. I really don't like this case. It's pretty trash. But anyway, let's turn it on properly and see if it works. Well, despite what seemed to have happened there, it actually does work, and we got a BIOS screen. I'm going to switch the camera over. Despite the air cooler barely fitting in this case, it looks like it actually works pretty well. Its CPU's only 33, so that's pretty good. But yeah, we need to address the fan issue where it keeps staying on even though it's turned off. Alright, I'm going to turn the computer off and just see what it does. And yep, the CPU fans turn off because they're hooked up to the motherboard, but you can see the rear case fan there. It's still spinning. Let me look up what I can do about this, because I literally have never seen this before, and maybe I've done something wrong, but I don't think so. I think it could be just this whole case, and its case fan setup is pretty terrible. I'll be back. Well, I've been looking into this issue. I looked online about other people that have this case, and unfortunately this is a case problem, design problem, and other people have got the same problem. While the power supply is turned on, those fans are going to run. Anyway, and I got a new problem. It doesn't seem to be seeing the SSD, so I need to have a look at what's going on with that. Alright, I will be back in a minute or two. I don't know. Once I get the card out and fix this SSD, we'll try again.
Why are these things always so hard to open?
I'm not very smart sometimes, especially when I'm tired, and turns out, but I did not hook up the SATA power to the SATA SSD, and that's probably why it wasn't showing up in the BIOS. So let's try that again, shall we? Yeah. But these fans not turning off, it just blows my mind. That's just really, really cheap. At least you can control the LEDs by if you hold the reset button for like 10 seconds, it'll do whatever the motherboard says. So at least there's that. But everything else about those fans are pretty trash. So I'll just wait for this BIOS to come up, and then check the SSD shows, and then we'll proceed to set up Windows on this thing, and then I'll tidy up the cabling, and that'll be it. We'll do some benchies because it's got a 5070 in it, so it's worth doing a bench. Display cable. And now we don't seem to be getting the BIOS. I don't know why. I haven't done anything different. I do. We'll try that again. Now that we've connected all the cables. BIOS screen. Right. And as you can see now, we have a Samsung SSD on the SATA port. So yay. We can finally put Windows on this thing, and it's running in XMP mode. So yes, finally we can get this going. But yeah, not much I can do about those fans not turning off, because it's by design. And I even went into here as they actually said to give it a go. Oh, it's turned off. What the? Save. I thought I told it to save. Maybe I didn't. Yes. Okay, it's definitely on now. Alright. I'm going to turn the computer off and see if it stops those fans. And turning on the ERP worked. So I must have saved it the last time, or I just thought I'd saved it, but I didn't. But yeah, it makes the fans stop. Oh, yay! So we've overcome all the failings of this case now, and this whole build, so we're good to neaten it up and install Windows, and then we'll do the benchmarks. But talk about a lot of hassles. I still don't recommend this case. It's not good for a decent gaming build. If you want a decent gaming build, don't scrimp on a case. This is more a very budget gamer case, not designed for anything with high-end components in it. I'm going to stop talking and tidy it up and get Windows on it.
2 hours later.
Okay, doke. Yeah, so here it is. It's all finished now. I've done all the wiring, tidy up, and put all the lids on and sealed it up. There we go. Finished. And I'm glad I'm finished with this computer, because I'm kind of over this case. It's probably the worst case I've worked on in recent memory. Really didn't have a lot of room in it. It's not well laid out. The fans are terrible. You can't slow them down or do anything with them. And unless you turn on ERP in your BIOS settings, they don't actually stop spinning when you turn off the computer. Just woeful. It's not wide enough, so you're like, if you get a big air cooler like they did, it almost doesn't fit. It's like so close to the side panel, it's not funny. The only thing that's good is that the LEDs on the fans can be controlled by the motherboard. But yeah, you have to give up your reset switch in order to get that feature. So some people might not like that you don't have a reset switch. In terms of the Thermaltake air cooler, I was just running a benchmark or stress test on that. It's idling around about 43 degrees at the moment, which is pretty good. But when I stress it, jumps up to about 82 degrees under load, and that's full load. And when you look up online about the 9900X, that's actually pretty normal. 82 is not too bad. So the Thermalright Assassin cooler, yeah, and it's not too bad. It does a pretty good job for an air cooler. I'm guessing we could probably get it a little bit lower if we used liquid cooling, but the air cooler does do the job, and it's probably a bit cheaper than a liquid cooler. So at the moment it's actually 79, but it does, if you leave it long enough, it will get into the 80s. Yeah, there it is, getting close to the 80s. So but yeah, not unusual for the 9900X. Thermalright Assassin does the job, but it's not remarkable in any way. So what we'll do now, we'll do the benchmarks, and then we'll be done with this thing, and they can come and get it. Alright everyone, that brings us to the end of this video. So the takeaway from this is, if you're going to buy some decent computer bits for gaming, like a 9900X and a B850 motherboard, there's some high-end features, and a 5070, don't scrimp on the case. It can really create some building problems and can make it very frustrating, as we found out, because this case, not enough room in it, the fans can't be controlled for speed, you have to give up a reset switch just to control the LEDs, and it's just cramped, and the build quality is just not there. It's a big avoid this case for the Antec AX61 Elite case. It is not a good case, and I would not put high-end bits in it, as we discovered here. It also pays to make sure you check the height of your CPU coolers so that it will fit in your computer case that you've chosen, and also make sure you get the right power supply to suit your graphics card, and that it has a 12-volt high power cable included if you're going to be running a 50 series, like a 5070 up. I think 5060 you don't need it, but a 5070 up you do. So all those things to think about, mistakes to avoid, so that your build is not as painful as this one. The results on the 5070 kind of surprising. But in the end, when we looked at the average frame rate, it's still in the hundreds. So like, it's still going to run your games pretty well. But if you've got the extra money, I recommend going up to the TI if you can get it, just because it gives you that extra 4 gigs of VRAM, and it definitely gives you that extra bit of performance over the 5070. But if you just can only afford a 5070, that's fine, it's still going to run your games. Well, that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching to the end. It's a bit of a hard one, this one. It was a bit of a battle. Hopefully it was helpful for you so that you can avoid these sort of things. Yeah, at the very least, I hope you found it entertaining. And if you really like this sort of content, ask if you could subscribe. It really helps me out. And then I can make more of this stuff as they come in. I just keep making some more videos on how to do builds and what to do and what not to do. Anyway, hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.